When Jesus heard of John's death, his heart grew heavy, and he withdrew by boat to a solitary place apart from the noise of the crowds. The wind brushed softly across the Galilean waters as the boat drifted toward the shore. Though he longed for silence, his compassion would soon call him back to the people. The sun lowered behind the hills, painting the lake in gold and crimson hues. Yet the people, hearing of his departure, followed on foot from all the towns. Men, women, and children hurried along the dusty paths, carrying the sick and weary with them. They longed to hear his voice again, to feel his healing power. When Jesus saw the multitude, his solitude turned into mercy. He looked upon them, not with annoyance, but with divine tenderness and love. As he stepped ashore, thousands were gathered, faces filled with hunger, hope, and awe. The people had followed him for hours without rest, their hearts yearning for the words of life he spoke. Jesus, seeing their faith and need, was moved deeply within his spirit. He walked among them, touching the blind, healing the lame, and lifting the sick from their mats. The crowd whispered of miracles as the weak stood tall and the broken rejoiced. Each act of kindness drew more people until the hill was filled with countless souls. The disciples watched as Jesus gave his strength freely, his eyes shining with divine compassion. The hours passed quickly beneath the warmth of his teaching. Yet as evening approached, a new kind of hunger stirred among the people. The disciples came near and said,
"This is a remote place, and the hour is late. Send the crowds away so they may go to the villages and buy themselves food."
Their concern was honest, for they saw the fatigue and hunger written on every face. But Jesus looked upon them with calm assurance and said,
"They need not go away, and you give them something to eat."
The disciples exchanged uneasy glances, for they had little with them. Andrew spoke softly.
"Here is a boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish, but what are they among so many?"
Their reason could not grasp what faith was about to witness. The small offering seemed insignificant before thousands, yet Jesus smiled, knowing that in the hands of the Father, little becomes more than enough. He commanded the people to sit down on the green grass. Groups formed across the hillside, families, children, and elders, all finding their places. The air was calm, and a gentle peace settled over the multitude. Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish into his hands, lifting his eyes toward heaven. The disciples watched as he gave thanks, blessing the food with quiet reverence. It was not the bread itself that held power, but the prayer and faith that accompanied it. The crowd grew silent, sensing something sacred unfolding before their eyes. The faint sound of birds overhead mingled with the rustling wind through the grass. Heaven's blessing hovered over that place like unseen light. Then Jesus broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples to the people. The motion seemed simple, yet each time he broke a piece, there was more to give. The baskets did not empty. Instead, they overflowed with bread and fish. The disciples' astonishment turned into joy as they served from baskets that never ran dry. The people ate, first timidly, then eagerly, realizing that the food was real and abundant. Mothers fed their children. Old men shared laughter once more. The miracle spread through the crowd like a gentle wave. Reaching every heart, each bite reminded them that God's hand was near. Soon the hillside was filled with the sound of satisfaction and gratitude. The smell of fresh bread drifted through the evening air. Jesus watched them eat, his eyes filled with quiet joy. For it was not only their stomachs he filled, but their souls as well. Those who had come weary left renewed in both body and spirit. The disciples continued serving until everyone had eaten their fill. The impossible had become possible before their very eyes. Faith was no longer a theory. It was bread in their hands and strength in their hearts. When all were filled, Jesus instructed his disciples,
"Gather up the fragments that remain, so that nothing may be lost."
They went through the crowd with 12 baskets and found them all brimming with leftovers. Each disciple held a basket full of bread that came from almost nothing. It was as if creation itself obeyed the voice of the Creator once more. The people marveled at what had taken place, whispering among themselves,
"Truly, this is the prophet who is to come into the world.
The miracle became a living parable of God's unending provision. What began with scarcity ended in overflowing abundance. As the crowd slowly dispersed, the setting sun cast long golden rays across the land. Children carried bits of bread home, laughter echoing through the fields. The disciples, still in wonder, looked upon Jesus with new understanding. The same hands that blessed the loaves would soon bless the world through the cross. The green hillside became holy ground, marked forever by the miracle of mercy. In the cool evening breeze, silence fell again, but it was not emptiness, it was awe. The Creator had walked among His creation, breaking bread for the hungry. That night, many lay awake thinking of what they had seen. They had come with nothing, yet left with full hearts. Stories spread from village to village of the teacher who could feed thousands with a child's lunch. The miracle was not just of food, but of faith, generosity, and divine compassion. The boy's small gift became the seed of a great wonder. Through it, all learned that even the smallest offering can become a vessel for God's power. Jesus had shown them that heaven's provision never runs dry. The memory of that meal lingered in their souls like the taste of grace itself. For the disciples, the lesson was eternal. What is placed in Jesus' hands multiplies beyond measure. They had doubted, yet they had seen abundance flow from obedience. The moment strengthened their faith for the trials to come. In years ahead, they would remember the hillside, the bread, and the calm assurance in His voice. Each time they broke bread among believers, they recalled how He once fed the multitudes. It was not merely a meal, it was a revelation of divine love. The miracle was a glimpse of the kingdom of heaven on earth. Thus, the feeding of the 5,000 stands as a testament to faith and compassion. It teaches that God's power begins where human resources end. When hearts are open and hands are willing, heaven moves. Jesus showed that a single act of surrender can touch countless lives. The miracle reminds every believer that abundance flows from gratitude. What was once scarcity became a feast. What was once fear became faith. In that quiet countryside, the people tasted more than bread. They tasted the love of God Himself. And the words of Jesus still echo through time.
They need not go away. You give them something to eat.
As night settled fully over the land, the disciples gathered near the boat, still speaking softly of the miracle they had witnessed. The stars appeared one by one, shimmering like distant promises in the sky. A gentle breeze carried the scent of bread lingering in the air, reminding them of God's overflowing mercy. Some of the people lingered by the shoreline, hoping for just one more glimpse of the teacher Jesus. Seeing their quiet devotion, walked among them with a tender smile. He laid His hands upon the sick who remained, and they rose with renewed strength. Mothers lifted their healed children toward the moonlit sky in gratitude. Fishermen bowed their heads in awe, sensing the presence of the Holy One. Every step Jesus took left behind peace like ripples on calm water. The disciples watched closely, storing every moment in their hearts. They felt as though heaven had touched the earth that day, and in the stillness, faith grew deeper than before. When the final crowd returned to their villages, the countryside became quiet once more. Jesus withdrew to a nearby hill to pray, seeking communion with the Father who had worked wonders through Him. The disciples sat below, whispering about the power they had seen unfold from a child's small meal. Peter gazed at the moon's reflection on the lake, thinking of how little faith they had shown earlier. Andrew held the memory of the boy's humble offering, now understanding its purpose. The miracle had changed them from within, stirring boldness where doubt once lived. Though tired, their hearts were burning with new conviction. They knew they were standing in the presence of divine purpose. Jesus prayed above them, His silhouette outlined by the stars. The night wrapped around them like a sacred cloak. None could forget the feeling of heaven drawing near. The hillside, once ordinary, had become a place of holy wonder. By morning, the disciples found Jesus walking along the shore, His face calm with purpose. The sunrise painted the sky with soft hues of rose and gold, reflecting the peace in His steps. He called them together, speaking of new journeys awaiting them. Though they did not yet understand all His words, they felt strength rising within their spirits. The memory of the miracle lingered like warm light in their hearts. Jesus reminded them that God works through what is offered in faith, no matter how small. The disciples nodded, carrying baskets of leftover fragments as symbols of the lesson. These remnants were not waste. They were reminders of divine abundance. Fishermen along the shore watched as the group prepared to move on. The world felt different now, touched by the presence of the kingdom. The teacher walked ahead, his path filled with purpose, and the disciples followed, ready to witness greater wonders still. Faith Flick Story, cinematic storytelling inspired by the Word of God. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that uplift your spirit.